we welcome you to a very special service today. Wherever you are, our prayer is that you feel loved and connected to God and to the people who love you. There are many things going on in the world today and many reasons to have dark nights of the soul. And this service is for those nooks and crannies in your life, or those big cracks in your life where you are grieving, where you are feeling lost or hurt, misunderstood, a place where you need God's love. Those are the places we intend to be in this worship service and in this time. We pray that you would feel God's balm of peace and love as you sit with what you're experiencing and you sit with God in this sacred space. So welcome. I invite you to join me in a call to worship today. Whenever you hear the words, "in darkness," let's all say together, "We are not alone. We are not alone." There are times when darkness presses into our lives. It hems us in. Deep in the darkness, we may feel isolated, hopeless, not seen or understood, not reachable. We may feel like our lives are spinning in a downward spiral, and our efforts to pull out of it seem futile. But there is something we must never forget. In darkness, we are not alone. A light is burning. It may seem rather fuzzy or flicker on and off. It may seem very far away. Perhaps, no matter how hard we look, we can't make out anything at all. But in this very place, if we pause from our mad scrambling, if we breathe, the light that burns there in that place can bring clarity. It can bring purity and new life, because in darkness, we are not alone. In this space, if you are surrounded by the interminable tunnel of darkness, it's okay. It's okay to be exactly where you are, because wherever you are, and no matter how it seems, we have a message of hope. God is working. God is moving, doing what we cannot do. In darkness, we are not alone. In your darkness is a sacred invitation that Christ offers. Jesus says to you now, "Trust me. Lean on me. My arms are here, and I will catch you. I am embracing you. You will be safe. And I will bring good gifts flooding into your life. In the darkness, hold on to me. In darkness, we are not alone.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious Son of old, from to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to all, from heaven's all glorious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. The first sacred reading tonight is written by Father John O'Donohue, appropriately titled in this holiday season at the end of this year, "For one who is exhausted, a blessing." I invite you to hear these words and then take some time for prayerful reflection, lifting up people who are loved ones in your life, lifting up people in this world who are struggling, lifting up caregivers, essential workers, first responders, all people who have worked so tirelessly throughout the course of this year. Or simply take time for prayerful reflection to listen to the God who speaks to us and urges us to open our ears and our hearts to hear a word. John O'Donohue writes, "When the rhythm of the heart becomes hectic, time takes on the strain until it breaks. Then all the unattended stress falls in on the mind like an endless, increasing weight. The light in the mind becomes dim. Things you could take in your stride before now become laborsome events of will. Weariness invades your spirit. Gravity begins falling inside you, dragging down every bone. The tide you never valued has gone out, and you are marooned on unsure ground. Something within you has closed down, and you cannot push yourself back to life. You have been forced to enter empty time. The desire that drove you has relinquished. There is nothing else to do now but rest and patiently learn to receive the self you have forsaken in the race of days. At first, your thinking will darken and sadness take over like listless weather. The flow of unwept tears will frighten you. You have traveled too fast over false ground. Now your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses. Open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the way of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can claim you. Be excessively gentle with yourself. Stay clear of those vexed in spirit. Learn to linger around someone of ease who feels they have all the time in the world. Gradually, you will return to yourself, having learned a new respect for your heart and the joy that dwells far within slow time.
A sacred reading from Hugs for the Hurting. I have a question for you. It's not one of those easy multiple choice questions where the answer is provided and all you have to do is guess the right one. No. This is one of those harder questions. It's a fill in the blank. Are you ready? When times are tough and you feel lost in a sea of sadness, when you feel confused and uncertain of your future, what is the one thing you can absolutely, unquestionably, securely trust? Of course, there are some answers that can easily be ruled out. You know you can't trust your career, money, education, possessions, or the government. When you're really hurting, these are the very things that seem to leave you and let you down the hardest. They are absolutely worthless in bringing comfort or hope. So what's left? Have you filled in the blank yet? Let me give you a few hints. It's strong enough to move mountains. It's gentle enough to wipe the tear from a child's cheek. It's enduring enough to withstand any crisis. It's healing enough to mend the most broken heart. It's faithful enough to stay when everything else has left or been lost. It is love, authentic, anchored, life-altering love. It is God's love. Don't waste your time pursuing anything else. Everything else will fail you. Nothing else satisfies, heals, protects, or provides like God's love. When you call, God comes. He promised He would. When you cry, He tastes salt. He knows your pain. When you can't get up, God lifts you. You are God's passion. When you pray for God's presence, don't be surprised if you hear a comforting voice in your spirit saying, I'm already here. Then, as you lay in the lap of His love, you can look into His eyes and say, I knew you'd come.
Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats o'er all the weary world. Above its sad and lonely plains, they bend on hovering
Litany of darkness and light. For the darkness of waiting, of not knowing what is to come, of staying ready and quiet and attentive, we praise you, O God.
For the darkness and the light are both alike to you. For the darkness of staying silent, for the terror of having nothing to say, and for the greater terror of needing to say nothing, we praise you, O God. For the darkness and the light are both alike to you.
For the darkness of loving, in which it is safe to surrender, to let go of our self-protection, and to stop holding back our desire, we praise you, O God. For the
darkness and the light are both alike to you. For the darkness of choosing when you give us the moment to speak and act and change. Moments when we cannot know what we have set in motion, but we still have to take the risk. We praise you, O God. For the darkness and the light are both alike to you.
For the darkness of hoping in a world which longs for you, for the wrestling and laboring of all creation for wholeness and justice, freedom and joy, we praise you, O God.
For the darkness and the light are both alike to you. And this reading from the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it.
Please join with me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
And you beneath life's crushing load, whose forms are bending low, who toil along the climbing way, with painful steps and slow. Look now for glad and golden eyes, come swiftly on the wing. Oh, rest beside the weary road, and hear the angels sing. Go into the world to rest beside the weary road, and hear the angels sing. And may the peace of Christ be with you and with those whom you love this day and throughout this blessed and holy season. God's peace and the peace of Christ be with you. And feel free to share that peace with those who are near you in body and in spirit and in your heart.
Peace and love.